Welcome to the Songwriter Connection Podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenihan.
Hi, I'm Dave. Thank you for joining us on the podcast. I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate the word of mouth, spreading it around for us, telling people about Songwriter Connection. We've got special guests today, and I want to just tell you right up front, before I ever heard them or got to know them, I had heard of them, because every now and then an act comes around in Nashville that's so true and rare and pure and have this talent that people start talking about it. So the first time I saw Crendenda, I was blown away. And we're going to tell you more about Crendenda. They're a family vocal harmony group that I know you're going to enjoy. And we're going to play some music live around the dining room table. But before we get to that, I want to thank our new sponsor. If you listen to episode 2 of season 2, you met and made a connection with Nancy Decken. Nancy is a publisher here in this town, also a fantastic songwriter, and she's the CEO of this new group called Discover Sooner. And if you're a songwriter, one of the greatest challenges that you have as a songwriter is meeting industry professionals, people that can get your song placed and maybe offer you a publishing deal. That's what it's all about. That's what we work so hard to try to do. Well, Discover Sooner helps songwriters meet and build relationships with publishers through their events and their program and their fantastic website. What I want you to do after you're done with the podcast today is remember Discover Sooner and go to their webpage, discoversooner.com. You will see profiles of publishers and songwriters, and we hope that you'll make your own profile and join the group. I am a member of Discover Sooner, love this group, and I highly recommend them to you. As a songwriter, you will love what they do. All right, let me introduce to you Crendenda, a family vocal harmony trio consisting of mom Barbara, brother Daniel, and sister Anna. And we're going to find out a lot more about them, but we need to hear some music. Daniel's a guitar player over there. Strike up the band, my friend.
Sure thing. I appreciate you letting me borrow the guitar, by the way. The one day I did not bring the guitar.
Such a rarity.
Here we go. I'm forgetting something here. So we're going to play a song called Far Side of the River. I've lived my life on the far side of the river, where the snow lies on the ground almost all the year around. Serene and cold, I no longer can remember what it's like to share my life with another human soul. I must admit, there's a part of me that wonders, should I spend my time what's left with feelings unexpressed? Look out the window, in the distance I can see another human soul on the same pathway as me. When things got bad, something inside, like a spark that starts a fire, creates the need to try and interact again. Fame captivate my soul.
Fantastic. Crendenda is our guest. This is the Songwriter Connection podcast. This is a family group. Daniel playing guitar. Hi, Daniel.
Hey, hey, hey.
Next to him around the dining room table is Anna. How are you, Anna?
I'm good, thank you.
I could just see the passion in your eyes as you're singing. I could just, she just feels
Most
it.
of the time they're closed.
That's all right.
More often.
You're so into it. And Mom is Barbara.
Yeah.
How are you, Barbara?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good to have you here. Thanks for being on our show. That is something from your new EP, right? That song you just played.
That's actually on an EP we released, I think, in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
So relatively new.
Relatively new.
Relatively.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
I love it. I love listening to it. I was listening to it all morning long. Now, you're from Springfield, not too far from here, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But you moved here from Boise, Idaho. And that's a far piece. And so we always talk about the draw of Nashville. So tell us how you go from Boise to the Nashville near. What happened? Is it a long story?
You tell it so much better.
You know what? I'll start it off. So we started doing music officially around late 2013.
Yeah.
And then after that point, we spent a lot of time in our local scene. We actually joined a Songwriters Association called the ISA,
Okay.
which is headed up by a couple guys who had played and worked in Nashville, Steve Eaton and Terry Miller. And they both were blown away by us when they heard us.
I can see why.
Yeah, and they basically said that you guys should try out Nashville because it's a perfect fit for you. And so fast forward, I think that was like 2015. Yeah. So in 2015, we were basically told you should check out Nashville. Fast forward to 2017, we decided to actually do it. And that was May 2017. We got in our Ford 03 F-150. And that was me, my two brothers.
I'm picturing this in my head. This is like the classic story.
It sounds so clinical, yeah.
No.
There are a lot of details here, but we had just raised enough money to get a certain distance. So
$600.
yeah, I mean, we did fundraisers, and a lot of good people came alongside us and helped us raise that amount, but we had only raised around that amount of money, and so it would only get us a certain distance. But yeah, we jumped in the truck, my two brothers in the back, I was in the middle, and I think it was Anna, Mom, and was Kat with us that time?
Yeah. There was a sister that the lineup was Daniel and Anna and Catherine, goes by Kat. And I did most of their songwriting and played keyboard and was quite content, to sit behind doing that and help them out, because when they started out, they were still in high school and teenagers, and we as parents just thought we want them to do something they're good at and that they like, and not spend a lifetime like 80% of adults doing something they don't like. It's only one short life, and Daniel even persuaded his parents. I was looking at college courses for him at the time, actually. And he said, do you think we could try this, like, go straight into the music biz? And then Steve Eaton, we always mention him because he was the person running the Idaho Songwriters Association. And we had been told by the mayor of our city, we lived in a place called Meridian right next to Boise, and I called her, I said, what do we do now? We knew nothing about music or what people did or anything. And she said, you need to go to the Idaho Songwriters Association. And so I looked up who led it. And his bio is very intimidating, extremely intimidating.
Still a lot.
Yeah, he'd ended up songwriting in Nashville and writing having lots of hits with the big acts of the 70s, and culminating with a hit he wrote for the Carpenters.
Wow.
And so he eventually left Nashville with that, And I went back then, started the ISA, and won an award for the establishing the music scene in Boise, Idaho.
Nice.
And so we turned up there, and a bit nervous now that we'd heard he's like really famous and had a lot of tons of hits and all the rest of it. And the kids went up with Kat onto the stage, and so I did a little bit of like amateurish marketing, and I found out which was Steve, and he was sitting very relaxed, you know, kind of half slumped a bit in his chair, not in a negative way, just enjoying the evening. And so they go up and sing. It was one of my songs. I was sort of being represented up there, and he just began to unfold and sit up, and I didn't take that as a source of pride or anything. I thought, it's having an impact. And he started looking around the room and, you know, snapping his fingers and pointing, and, you know, to people who understood the music biz. And so he was the one who said we needed to get down to Nashville.
Wow. And here you are.
Yeah.
Well, and it's going well. You played last night at Puckett's. Now, we taped this in advance, but you play something called the Gospel Hour there? That's something you've done a lot, right?
Yeah. That was there's kind of a story behind that. We first went to Puckett's in, was it 2018? And we went to their open mic. A friend of ours had said...
At Leapers Fork?
Yeah.
There? Okay. Mm-hmm.
And a friend of ours had said, you got to get out to Puckett's. There's a great open mic there. And so we checked it out, and it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. It was quite an experience, and we met the owner, now soon to be former owner, Rob Robinson there. And
you even played with us on stage.
He got on his guitar, played some slide for us, and that started a journey where we were coming to open mic for a while, and then that kind of tapered off. And then we got invited back by a friend of ours, Debbie Pratt, who's the host of open mic there right now, and she got us back out there again. And then we started going quite a bit every Thursday. And we were never gunning for Gospel Hour. We'd heard of it, but we were never actually pursuing it. Mm-hmm. But Rob heard us playing in the back. We were actually rehearsing one open mic, and he was standing right by the door. The only place you can practice in Puckett's is like right in the back next to the freezers and the bathrooms.
Restrooms are.
Yeah. So it's like you're freezing and you're standing in people's way, man.
Well, I'll add to that. It was 2019 when nobody knew, but COVID was stuck.
Yeah, that was right. It was starting to break out.
That was BC, before COVID.
And we were practicing a Dylan song out the back, Far the North Country.
Girl from the North Country, but we've changed it. Yeah.
Yeah? You do that? Wow.
Yeah.
So he wanted us through, and his mother was really sick, very, very sick, and he was quite worried about her. And he just put his head on the wall as we practiced the harmonies to, pass out. So he heard, I think he loves harmony, and he loves Dylan.
I love harmony too.
Yeah. But
I love Dylan. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Let me just to change, you talked about harmony, and I wanted to talk about that up front. And I've always heard the term blood harmony. If you hear like the Everly Brothers and the Louvin Brothers, and my brother and I used to sing together. And then when I hear you, that's the first thing that comes to my mind, blood harmony. Your harmonies are so beautiful and tight and precise. But you got a different name for it, and I like it, a relative harmony.
Yeah.
So
harmony is relative.
Yeah.
It's relative. Now that's your term?
We have to confess that came from a musician friend in Boise, and he said we could use it, so we just kept it.
I have talked so much on this show about genres and how I hate it, because people will say, well, what kind of music do you play? And don't ask me that, because I don't have a clue. I just try to write the best song, right? And I think it's human nature, and I've said this before, that people want to put you in that little box, in that category. Well, they're Americana, they're folk, they're gospel, they're rock, they're country. And what I've always loved, and really even when I first started in radio, in the 70s, I loved to listen to people that kind of define their own genre defying, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or sometimes I've been calling it now genre neutral, right?
It works.
And that's what I get the feeling. You guys are blazing your own trail, doing your own thing, and I think that's just wonderful. in the past we've had guests on the show like Olivia Francis. I don't know if you know her, but I've known Olivia since she's 11 years old. And she's a great songwriter. She calls what she does, she's defined her own genre. Sunshine story pop. Yeah.
I like that.
And it fits her.
I feel happy already.
Yeah, and you can't not be unhappy listening to Olivia. And then I love this artist out of Austin that just moved to Nashville not too long ago. Her name is Jamie Harris, and Jamie's had some success on the Americana charts as well. But to call her Americana, it's kind of unfair. I mean, what she calls what she does, folk and roll. And it fits her.
Right.
And I loved having her on talking about that. So, comments? I've jumped off my
it's really exciting to hear other people are actually doing that. Because when we arrived, I mean, you can talk about this, but people wanted to get us in a certain pocket, in a certain genre. I can understand why, for marketing purposes and all the rest of it. And who do you think you're most like? And, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, we've always played and written what we play and write. We haven't really put a label on it from the very beginning.
Good.
And to a degree, you've got to put some sort of a label on it for the marketing people in Nashville, and
I guess you're right. It is a business,
that's the only
right?
reason we've done that,
right?
But in general, we like to refer to us as ourselves, our sound is genre defying, and we've come up with this label, Americana Gospel. As far as we're aware,
I like that.
I don't think there is a genre.
And I think that
a scene for that, so we're kind of creating our own sound with it, right?
Yeah, exactly, and you are. And the thing about it, I like Americana because it incorporates a lot of different genres in it.
Yeah.
I mean, bluegrass and blues, and even some rock and alternative, and of course bluegrass and down home country that you're not hearing a lot of anymore on pop country radio stations. So I find myself listening a lot to that Americana kind of genre, if you will. So, but hey, we could talk about that for hours and years, and we could talk about that philosophy. But what I would love is some more of this beautiful relative harmony.
There we go. Well, we're going to play another Crendenda classic for you. This is called Black Mountain. I saw the truth when the snow fell on Black Mountain. I'd slept for days lamenting all my ways to do. As I dreamt, my head was pounding. I felt the freedom to do anything I chose, but I live with consequences. Voices in my head, they quietly oppose any personal condemnation. Black Mountain, can you help me find my way? There's a guilt that never seems to go away. I've tried everything and still I don't feel good. Life never seems to go the way I think it should. As the snowdrifts settled high through the winter on Black Mountain, I woke up to realize none to blame but I, for a life of no accounting.
I've tried everything and still I don't feel good. Life never seems to go the way I think it should.
Our guest is Crendenda on the Songwriter Connection podcast. I'm Dave Linnane, I'm your host, and I do a couple of radio shows from this room, our dining room table, and I love when we can play music around the dining room table. But I got to tell you, I love the acoustics of this room, but it's never sounded better than today.
Aww.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, our pleasure. Thanks for inviting us.
That harmony is spectacular, and that song there was the last track on the Credenda EP, which is out there all. Wherever you get your music, Spotify is where I was listening this morning. But it's out there, right?
It's out there, yeah.
Right. So before we get into Credenda and what it means and all that, this is a Songwriter Connection podcast. So I want to talk about the story behind the song and your process a little bit. So let's start with that one. I love that song. Where did the idea come? Who wrote? Do y'all write together? or
We do.
Yeah?
Yeah, seemingly. The first two we've sung, I wrote on my own, except I've got to say for Black Mountain, there was one line, I just couldn't finish it. Mm-hmm. And my husband is a writer, actually, in his spare time. And so I'll go into him, and he put in the line, leave behind our pain and fury. I've discovered in this world, I need to care,
Wow.
And so those two lines there right at the end of the song are his, and I think that's really the message. But the way I write songs, and I haven't quite found anybody who does this, I'm in awe of Nashville songwriters. Mm-hmm. I always feel like about so diminished when I listen to them and how clever they are, and they're just so professional and good at what they do. But I haven't heard, maybe I will find one who does write this way, but I have no lyrics in mind at all.
No.
None. And I'll go to my usually acoustic piano. Mm-hmm. And we've got a very old 1914, is it?
Really?
It's a really old piano.
Very old, 1916, round about then. And I'll start playing a chord progression, and then a story will just come from the chord progression.
Isn't it something?
It wasn't there before, but then it starts to come. It seems to fit with the mood of the chord progression. And I think at my age, being a parent of grown children, you've seen a lot and you start thinking about a lot. And I envisioned when I wrote this song, there's somebody who's in their 50s, and they're not quite where they want to be. They've maybe made a few mistakes or a lot of mistakes, and they've tried everything to make life work. I've tried everything, but still I don't feel good. And they just haven't quite found it yet. And then they go up to Black Mountain. And when I was talking to Kim, she said, "Did you know there's a real Black Mountain?" And she said it's close by in one of the Carolinas. It might be North Carolina. And I said, no. I actually got it out the Bible, a very modern translation. They translated the name of a mountain to Black Mountain. So I had that in the back of my head. Wow. That sounds good.
That's something. And you talk about Kim, you're talking about the producer of this CD, Kim McLean.
Yes, Kim McLean.
She's a fantastic songwriter who we're going to have on this show later on this season. So,
right.
But so Black Mountain,
Right. It's somebody who's just realizing the one thing they didn't do in life was have a circle of people around them that they who held them accountable. It's always good to have at least one person who, I don't know what would be in American vernacular, keeps you honest, keeps you
centered on the right track.
Right.
And I just noticed too that Far Side of the River and Black Mountain both have relatively the same theme, where it's somebody who's kind of living off the grid, reflecting on their life and decisions they've made.
That's Far Side.
See, there's a lot of people I think that can identify with that.
They've given up on humanity, the Far Side of the River guy. doesn't want to engage. And then he starts having really nice memories about some relationship he had. Maybe it was his wife, maybe somebody else, and he wants to re-engage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's interesting, your style of writing. And I've talked to people who are like that. They hear that melody, and then the melody talks to them as to what the song is all about. And I've written songs that way. Yeah. And then there's also, a lot of folks like to write from an idea or a hook and write to that. And so, it is different here in Nashville. But I think people do it a lot of different ways, and there's no right or wrong. I think what works best for you.
I don't even have a melody.
No, you don't.
It's nothing.
Progression?
It's just, I just play a progression and like the vibe, the feel, the ambience of it.
Wow.
And then I see somebody wrestling, and go pulling the hair out, and then of course I've written a few notes, usually on my phone,
And actually, sometimes like either she'll knock it out of the park completely on her own, and she'll have the music and lyrics in place like right off the bat. Yeah. And then sometimes she'll have a half-formed idea or an almost completed song, and she'll bring it to one of us. This is how we write together. Yeah. I'm more of an arrangement compositional guy. And I hear a hook, I hear a melody, and sometimes like she'll bring words to me that don't have any melody, and she'll kind of play it for me. And it's kind of like how Lennon and McCartney used to co-write quotes. Yeah. Like one guy would write a song, then he'd bring it to the other guy, and one would tidy it up, and then the end result was a co-write between Lennon and McCartney.
Right.
But it was brilliant nonetheless. But that was kind of the process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Anna, do you get in on this process too? Or?
Oh, yeah. She
does. I hear a melody. It's often things they've created in music, and they bring it to me when it's unfinished, and I can just hear the rest of it.
Wow. That's talent.
So you write the harmony, you write the melody,
way, I guess,
as we're playing the chord progression.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually something in your, a bit more...
I don't think about it much,
I don't think about it, I just do.
No, maybe that's not what I mean. It's kind of mom's process, only I'll start singing it.
I gotcha.
Because I'm not...
We need one of these, like, diva explanations. Well, let me tell you about my process.
Does it sound diva?
I sit in a room with, only one bottle of water.
I don't mean
to. The magic ensues. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because what it is really great, you guys, really. Let's have another example. Love to hear another song.
All right. Well, let me think about this. This song is called Snowing in East Nashville, and it's dedicated to a friend of ours that we met at Puckett's by the name of Jimmy James. He's a singer-songwriter. He's got his own band up in Springfield, Massachusetts, and he was living in East Nashville at the time, and I think it was one of the few times it actually snowed, and he was feeling homesick.
Oh.
And he posted about it, and Mom saw the post and decided to write a song. And so this is one of those examples of a co-write between all three of us.
And this is the one where Anna heard the chord progression, and she sang the melody. She composed it as I was playing it, and we just taped it as she's singing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this was the tune.
I heard it, yes.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
And we always intro this by saying this goes out to anyone who's feeling far from home. So...
It's snowing in East Nashville. I'm watching the snowflakes fall. I feel a little homesick, being gone from home so long. Missing friends and family. Far to the north, so cold. Back in New England country, snowfall has taken hold. Take me home where I grew up. outside in East Nashville and feel the snowflakes fall. Miss the ones I knew that I have left behind. I've lived for a few months now, they're always on my mind. I miss familiar places, city streets and buildings tall. As I step outside in East Nashville and feel the snowflakes fall. I know I'm meant to be. I feel it in my bones. My destiny is certain. Nashville is my home. I'm living, looking forward. The struggles less each day. With every battle that I win, I know I'm here to stay.
Man, fantastic. Wow, what a great song. Now that one, I noticed, isn't on the Credenda EP, so that must be relatively new, right? Not recorded yet.
That is actually, if you think about it, it is relatively new. I think that's no older than a year.
No.
And no, it hasn't been recorded yet, but it's definitely on the short list to be recorded.
So are you getting ready to record new music?
We are, yeah.
Tell me about that process.
Well, let me start at the beginning here. We know a sound engineer who used to live in Nashville, who was actually he's a now retired theology professor, used to work at Vandy by the name of John McClure. And he's been a friend of ours for a while, and we reached out to him when we decided we were going to do another single. And
you had a great deal on doing a single.
He had a great deal, yeah.
And that's been our main thing. Why no new music has come out, because we have to work to generate money in order to do the next step. We don't. We have a family of 7.
7.
And
wow.
So everything. There's 2 people in that group that are supporting the 7 of us.
Wow.
And Daniel, Anna, and I work full-time at the music biz. And we had, I can't remember who it was now, somebody important who said it takes about 15 hours a day working hard.
Wow.
You know, at writing and practicing, networking, going out to play.
There's a lot that goes into it.
And if you're, as you know, if you're working a job, it's hard to... you're sometimes too tired. And a lot of young songwriters we've seen have gone home since we've been here. So we're thankful to the 2 people. One of them is my husband. And
what's his name?
His name is Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah. And he just doesn't want really anything to do with the music business, but he wants to see his family successful. Wow. And so he agreed to the move down here. And
very proud of him.
Very proud of him for doing that.
For sure.
Very good. And he's a writer.
He has written in his spare time since he was young, and so if I'm stuck for lyrics, he's the first person I go to.
He helps out.
Very we hash something out.
He's quite the wordsmith. He'll throw a phrase in when we're at a loss and having some writer's block.
Can I call him when I have some writer's block? Joe, I'm going to call on you.
Yeah. Oh, there's Jonathan too. You met Jonathan.
Yeah.
Autistic son is a writer. Also.
Yes. I saw him playing cajon for you, and he's a good writer, huh?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And music comes out of it. He's into augmented and
he's into a lot of alternative styles.
Oh, wow.
So his chord selections are so beyond anything I could come up with on my own. And when he does it, I'm like, where is that coming from?
That's cool.
It's really cool.
Very cool. Well, let me ask you this, because I've been dying to. This is the question. Didn't know exactly when to bring this up, but I want to talk about the name Crendenda. Tell me about how you came up with that name and where it came from and what it means.
We had a couple names before, didn't we?
Well,
we had one name and
your dad.
We liked it at the time, but it wasn't a really good fit for what we were doing.
What was it? Can you?
So hold on, drum roll, please. Red River Redemption.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that was the original band name, and after a while, the style we kind of came up with wasn't really. I mean, it's a great band name, but it wasn't really meshing.
Your father came up with that one.
Yeah, Dad came.
Was
up
there
with
a Red River near where you lived?
We
got Black Mountain and Red River.
Nope.
Very 70s, is it? Maybe.
Yeah.
And of course,
kind of like Creedence.
Yeah, right.
A little bit like Creedence.
Yeah. I love it. I would have loved it.
Yeah, he loved that.
Yeah.
And Anna, these millennials, she said...
I didn't think it sounded mainstream enough. I don't know why I thought that, but I asked Mom to come up with... because I was struggling of a name to call us instead of that, so I asked Mom to come up with something, and she was just looking in the dictionary. I found her looking in this huge, massive dictionary.
In the C's, apparently.
And she just threw a few names out there, and the one that stuck out to me was Credenda, and I'm like, what does that mean?
What does that
That
mean?
sounds cool. Yeah. And when she explained it to me, it was cooler to me, and I thought, that's cool. Let's call ourselves that.
I looked it up in Webster's too, so so that our listeners don't have to. What's the definition, Barbara?
Well, I think basically it means things to be believed.
Things to be believed.
Yeah, and in its simplest form. And in church, people say creeds, I suppose, whatever denomination you go to. And
Apostles' Creed. Yeah.
And then there's the band creed, and Credenda is just the plural.
It's the plural of creed.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And they say, use it in a sentence and it's yours forever. Yeah. So the group Credenda is going to be the next big thing. That's my sentence.
And it's,
there we go.
Latin. So
it's, so now we all speak a little Latin.
Right.
See?
Right. Very good.
It's Frenchy.
I love it. Things to be believed. Well, I'm a believer. I really am a believer in what you do. And I want to thank you for coming and sharing your story with us on the Songwriter Connection podcast, talking a little bit about how you write and your travels here to Nashville. And it's going well, huh? You love it here? Is it home now?
Yes, it definitely.
Oh, it's definitely home.
Yeah.
And we get to meet awesome people like you. And
oh, God bless you. Love you guys. That's why I love them. They're so genuine and great and wonderful. How about taking us out with that Dixon County song? Man, I'm telling you, I heard you guys do this at the Commodore Grill the other night, and it blows me away every time I hear this song. You've got to record this song.
Yeah, here it comes.
I woke this morning on a bridge in Dixon County. The sun was hot and I had nowhere to go. A man walked by pretending that he didn't see me. He quickly ran away, my thoughts turned over slow. Discarded, bruised and broken, like just 1 week ago. Served me well, but that's not who I really am. The pain and heartache that I kept inside my own hell, for so long I tried to hide. I woke as night fell on a bridge in Dixon County. The moon was shining as I opened up my eyes. Her brown eyes widened as at first she hadn't seen me. She almost tripped and fell and looked back with surprise. Then knelt to look at me, relieved to find I was alive. Her dark skin glistened in the moonlight rays, and the tears she could not hide. I woke as night fell on a bridge in Dixon County. I stood up, it felt so good to be alive. Hey!
This is what I love about Nashville. That's Daniel, his sister Anna, and their mom, Barbara. Together they are called Crendenda, and they're playing around Nashville a lot. If you're visiting and you see their name on a billboard, you rush in and see them and tell them how you loved hearing them on the Songwriter Connection podcast. I want to thank you for doing this. Thank you so much, first and foremost. You guys are incredible. I'm big believers in followers of what you do. So, and I also want to thank Discover Sooner and my friend Nancy Decken for sponsoring our show this week and for the foreseeable future. Next week, let me just plug, next week we're going to look into the rock field a little bit. There's a band called Born Crooked, and these guys are, what an incredible story they have. And we're going to delve into it with Hunter Wolf, who is the lead guitar player and singer in the group. So join us next time on Songwriter Connection.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.